Hey everybody, it's Mike Venus La Soul, and I'm back. And continuing on this response to this guy's rant, um, it's very conflicting. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you speaking on a subject and you showing like you swaying, because music is music. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'll say, right? Because I'm not trying to get big on YouTube. Let's squash that. I already said I'm not a YouTube producer. I'm not striving to be a YouTube influencer. If people are influenced or what the topics I speak on, which are not scripted, I don't script anything. I just kind of go off the cuff. I find it better to do that, and I'm not leaving Dear John letters on people's comment sections because they're not gonna read it, or it can be misinterpreted, which kind of spawned me in this motion to start doing more of these little videos, either responding to individuals directly, putting their face on the screen so you see who I'm talking about, or the topic they're speaking on, so that they're, because you can block a comment. You know what I'm saying? You can ignore it, you can bury it, because people have so much control over their channel. So, or you can ignore it, but you can't ignore a video. That energy's put out there. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no rage baiting over here. Ain't no clickbaiting or trying to. I'm not even monetized, bro. So that's not even the goal. If I get monetization, cool. If I don't, it's whatever. It's still, YouTube is YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own platform. They can say what they want. But you sound, it's conflicting. You're saying, okay, genres and the gear and stuff is all fueled by consumerism, which is dealing with capitalism. I'm an anarchist. I can see that. I know that. When I make music, I don't make a genre specific style of music. It has flavors or patterns or progressions or arrangements similar to certain styles, but it's not that. My stuff, it doesn't fit in a box. I I don't even really personally like putting a genre on it, because I know I don't even I don't listen to that genre, or I personally don't like that genre. Right? Like for an example, jazz, right? Because I've been watching a lot of stuff on the history of jazz and classical music. I'm not a jazz musician. I don't ever claim to be a jazz musician. I love jazz. I love what I learned from jazz. I learned about different types of chords, different types of scales, different types of ways of thinking, of making the music like move. I'm more intrigued with the philosophy of jazz and some of the concepts of jazz than actually being influenced by a particular jazz artist or jazz genre style. If I was like that, then I'll make that style, right? And I hear what he's saying, but that's not reality. Reality is that, yes, if you are in the realm of trying to make money off of music, you are restricted to a certain style or genre, or promoting a certain piece of gear or techniques that limits the artist, which I believe producers are artists, especially if you make instrumentals and your goal isn't trying to pair it up with a vocalist or a rapper. It's very restricting. It don't matter if it's him or if it's anybody else on YouTube that's either maybe, dabble into trying to get into the industry, or have industry ties, or know people from the industry, or that is from the industry that's trying to become an influencer on YouTube. a lot of those guys, they're going to come from a very restricted, narrow-minded perception of the art of music. And this is where this year and beyond, it must be a rebirth, a renaissance approach towards music that kind of really toss all that shit to the wind. All that shit that they've been pushing for years. That is like, if you got to make tight beats, you got to play this genre, and a lot of what they're saying is going to be trimmed off, swept away by AI. Because to be stuck to a genre or to a certain sound or gear, you're going to be restricted. And then the other thing too, a lot of that stuff don't apply to everybody. That's what I was saying in the last video. You know, I got Machina MK3. I got mini dolls on my computer. I got hardware. I got an older MPC. I got the Akai Force. I got a Yamaha MX49 keyboard. I got apps that give me emulations of more emulations of older gear. But at the end of the day, these are just tools. I think where the issue is, and he can't really see it, but yet I'm trying to help him to see it, and not just him, but other people online. It's he's fighting against this because you're trying to understand music from an intellectual, technical perception. Yes, you gotta. It's a craft. You gotta know about music theory. He doesn't go into this like that. Music theory is more than just knowing the Italian words and how to read staffs and recognize keys and know how to read notes and write it, or it's more than just like being boxed into a genre, because that it's kind of like it goes deeper. It's going to being accepted. You understand? When you're moving or creating something that you're not, that's not the goal. The goal, if you want to be accepted, you're going to make a general, a gender, not gender, a music genre type music. You're going to specialize in that because you want respect or recognition from people of that particular genre to say, hey, yeah, this guy got it. But the problem with that, besides using that, what you like about that genre to build upon what you want to do, that's where the stagnation comes in, right? I was talking about water with my son and about energy. And I gave him because I think in pictures, I talk in pictures. I use a lot of like imagery in my speech. He doesn't. He's very logical. You know what I'm saying? And very like technical, intellectual when if he's, talking right. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk to him at times, when I feel that I have to talk normal, in my sense, I talk in pictures and stuff like that. To the majority, that's not normal. So I have to speak in a way that he thinks is normal, which is intellectual and technical. Right? And this is really the issue with music. Music is not about that to the degree that you have to be so formulated and very technical. Like there's people whose music is very technical. They've been classically trained. I'll give you an example. Alicia Keys, John Legend. Their music, technically, it sounds good. They know it sounds good. Either they wrote it or they have somebody write for them. If they have people who wrote for them, they can recognize if it's technical or not because they've been classically trained. But their music don't move me. Doesn't mean their music isn't good. I don't feel it. I can make something. Now I understand the technical side because I feel like this is something that really has harmed black and brown culture, which is westernized music here from America. All genres of music, known or unknown, derived from black and brown people and their cultures. Where the formulation comes from is from the music industry and the Blue Eye Soul. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That's where the formulation of genres and styles and emulation. AI is nothing new. They've been doing this shit for years. It's just that a lot of people don't know this. I can listen to all types of music, but I know where the music goes back to. It's just that the majority don't know that because they've been trained to only like a certain style of music or think that if I make genre based music, I will be accepted. It's not about being accepted. It's about being creative. Now, yes, you do need a balance of knowing some of the technical stuff because that helps you to convey your ideas. You know, it's like a baby. If a baby don't learn how to talk, the baby is going to have a harder time communicating with their parents, their teacher, their peers, and with society at whole. So you got to learn the language of music, which a lot of y'all do not teach. You want to be an influencer, teach the language of music. Start first and foremost, what's the alphabet of music? At least from the Western perspective, the 12-note chromatic scale. Over here in the West, you can't. That's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of like you throw out this, you ranting about certain things, but then you're not trying to meet people where they at. This is a good part about teaching. See, I come from a lineage of educators that taught at the highest level, that were teaching at universities and colleges in many subjects. And I love teaching. I'm very good at teaching. And I'm good at teaching very complex things and making it simple for even a child to understand. So a child can take it, pick it up, and run. Now, all the technical shit, you can simplify that and meet people where they at. Like, for an example, I will compare myself to a baby right now, physically. I can't physically play the keyboard on a keyboard or a synthesizer. I have issues with my hands. I have neuropathy in my hands. I can't pick up the guitar like I used to and play it. I cannot feel the strings. I can't apply the right amount of pressure. The dexterity in my hands is not working. Just like a baby has to develop those muscles, the dexterity in their hands. I have times where I can't feel my toes, or I have to press harder just to do something that will require a little bit more finesse because of my nerves. I'm almost like a baby. But what can I do? I can still convey my message, my ideas through my writing. Y'all put too much stock and too much like uplifting on gear and techniques, but it's you got to pair that up with writing. You know what I'm saying? And techniques, and then even with that, because I remember I had bought a DJ mixer, right? I'm giving you a story. I bought a DJ mixer, and I had developed a way that I was mixing because I was using the software with the the mixer, right? Serato DJ mix software with the Rant 2 mixer, right? Great piece of gear. But I realized I was having issues with my hands. I couldn't, like, my timing was off. And I had to take it back. And when I sold it back to the people, well, I got it back. I told them I have to do something else. I said, I'm glad I learned about how to write music. I learned the language of music. I can compose. I had to pivot. See, a lot of y'all, you have more advantages than I do because you can physically play your music. You know what I'm saying? You can look at things of that nature. Oh, I can go get this synth. Or I can go get this guitar. Or I can play this. And not just that, I deal with migraines. I had a migraine that lasted for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And still want to write music and stuff, but it was overbearing. Many of y'all healthy. You don't have these issues. You know what I'm saying? You might have issues. I'm not saying no, but like you don't. Some might, but I have a lot of shit that I have to overcome to even get to the point of making music and focus to make music. So all that saying that a person lacks integrity, how is a person lacking integrity when I'm I'm trying on my page to encourage people to learn music. I ain't telling them to follow me in the sense of mimic my style. That's not going to happen because I'm not bound to a genre. I'm not formulating my music. I'm just learning the language of music so I can tell my story through music the best way I can, because that's the only way I can. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they at that level. They can't afford all these things that y'all put in their faces or try to sell to them or that you use. And maybe they got a free software and that's all they can use. But they want to get some music out. Why don't you teach them the language of music? Do you even know the language of music? Can you even convey what you know in a way that even a child, a 5-year-old can comprehend what you're saying? You know what I'm saying? Real teachers, real influencers will be able to take what they know and make it as simple that even a child can comprehend it. And you're a Christian, so you should know this. The Lord said the kingdom of heaven is for the little ones. You got to become like a little one to enter the kingdom of heaven. If we comparing this to music, if you're a little one, first you gotta humble yourself. I don't know everything about music, but I'm willing to learn. And like a child, children don't know their limits. I know my limits, but I try to approach this. This is intellectual, yes, but I approach it as a child. There is no limits. A genre is a limit. A lot of things can be limiting. You understand? When making music, it shouldn't be. You should not be limited. Now that's maybe how you process music. You understand? But that's not how everybody processes music or be able to express themselves in music. So you got to think before you throw out these statements or these subliminals, you know, hit that person up that you might personally, you really feel something about, but you don't want to really be public about it. Approach them one on one, or have open up a conversation. I don't go on here and be broadcasting everything I'm going through, but yeah, I'm dealing with a lot of shit, bro. And I still show up. I still do what I gotta do. And I do this professionally. I don't do this, as a hobby or out here to just be causing chaos on the internet to fuck up your business. But people need to understand, like, some people, they being limited, you can be unlimited. It's a balance. I'm limited physically on what I used to be able to do and what I can do, but my music is unlimited because I know how to convey the language of music, teach the language of music. I see a lot of y'all avoiding that because you really don't know it. You want to focus on production. Yes, production is part of it, but writing is also a major part of it too. I can pick a certain scale that will have a person react a certain kind of way, especially if I write the intervals in a certain sequence, or if I write a certain chord progression, which is a stack of intervals, that will provoke a certain reaction from a person. I had to learn that by learning the language of music. Just like a baby. A baby got to be able to speak. Can't just keep pointing and yelling and crying. It has to eventually learn how to formulate words, and then from words, sentences, and then be able to communicate. That's what's missing on YouTube. Not the gear. Shit, gear is getting pushed in people's faces to a all-time high. Tight beats and genre based music is getting pushed because that's feeding into capitalism and consumerism, which is two of the same. But if you teach people how the language of music, even from the foundation up, they can run, they can soar, they can fly. So before you start like, oh, they lack integrity, I have plenty of integrity. I don't sample people. I respect other people's works. I don't sample their work. I don't even try to copy their work. I can be inspired by them. I can learn a technique from them, but I'm not trying to be them. That's not getting pushed in the music community to a high degree from you influencers. And all this fear, it's too much fear getting pushed. That's negative. If y'all knew how to write, you knew your language, you know your tools, you could be able to do anything. I'm not limited. So no, I got plenty of integrity.